Krishna devotees, welcome to BhagavatSanga program. This is our Srimad Bhagavatam program where devotees read the verses from Bhagavatam and share their realization. The current theme which we are reading in BhagavatSanga is Lord Kapila Dev describing the beautiful form of the Supreme Lord. These are very beautiful verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 28, from verse 21 to 33. Today we have two very wonderful devotees who will be sharing the verses and their realizations. Today we have Abhay Prabhu and Rohini Mataji. Hare Krishna Prabhu and Mataji. Over to you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much. Hare Krishna devotees, we'll share our screen.
Hare Krishna devotees, today we'll be sharing our understanding from verses 3.28.28 and 31.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Namam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Dhiraye Nashtakayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama-shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike Om Jnanati Virandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Upam Karoti Vacharam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Shri Guru Devantam Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama. Hare Krishna devotees, and thank you Satyasara Prabhu, Jai Subhadra Mataji and Veena Mataji for giving us this opportunity to read from Srimad Bhagavatam for our purification. So in this chapter 28, Lord Kapila explains to Mother Devahuti that by practicing yoga, one can make progress towards understanding the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So yoga means to connect to the Supreme Lord. And in order to connect to Krishna, one has to first control the mind, which is contaminated by material attraction and always gets disturbed by the sense object. So Lord Kapila Deva talks about Jnana Yoga, the analytical study of matter and spirit, and Ashtanga Yoga in detail, which is in which yogi meditates on the Lord as a super soul. So Lord Kapila Deva says that those who try to meditate on the form of the Lord, they are called munis or less intelligent. Whereas those who render actual service to the Lord, they are called bhakti yogis, because they know their position as a part and parcel of the Lord, and they serve Lord out of love. So both bhakti yogi and ashtanga yogi, they have their ultimate goal as the same, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But for this yoga, one is practical, that is bhakti yoga is practical for this age, and the others are very difficult. Because in other yogas, especially in Ashtanga Yoga, one has to go through so many processes to fix the mind upon Supreme Personality of Godhead. They have to restrain the senses. They have to first come to Samadhi, where they should, and after purifying the mind, then they concentrate with the on the tip of the nose with half eyes closed. So it is very difficult to perform in this age. Whereas Bhakti Yoga, the yogi out of love, he automatically is able to meditate on Lord. So practicing Ashtanga Yoga, therefore, it is very difficult. Lord Chaitanya also recommends that Kirtaniya Sadahari, that one should always chant the holy name of the Supreme Lord Krishna, because name Krishna and the person Krishna are not different. So when one concentrates mind on the Lord by hearing and chanting, rather than performing all the severe austerities, then the same result is achieved. The mind becomes purified, because they develop love. The devotees develop love when they hear about Lord, they chant the glories of the Lord, especially in association of devotees. When they perform that, they develop the love for the Lord. So the practice of Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga, they are incomplete without bhakti, because the love aspect is not there, the service aspect is not there. So Lord Kapila Dev very beautifully describes the form of Lord Vishnu, which both Krishna, like devotees and yogi meditate, and how meditating on each limb of the Lord has purifying effect. So Lord's beauty is eternal, and the Lord's glories are always worth singing. The glories, they give purification as well as joy to our heart, and also Lord's glories are enhanced by his devotees. So Lord Kapila Dev wanted to convince yogi or the muni that the absolute truth is never impersonal at any time. And the verses 21 to 33 describes beautifully observing the Lord in his personal form, limb. And when we observe Lord from limb after limb, when we take darshan, then then we cannot consider Lord to be impersonal. So therefore, it is recommended we should not take darshan as a without going through limb. We should start from the lotus feet of the Lord, which descends the darkness from the heart of the devotees. Then we should gradually move towards Lord ankles, then Lord's transcendental legs and thighs, which Goddess Lakshmi herself massages, then Lord's waist, then Lord's navel, which is moon-like in the center of his abdomen, which is the foundation of the entire universe, then Lord's chest, which is the abode of Mahalakshmi, then Lord's neck that enhances the beauty of Kaustuva gem, then Lord's powerful arms, then Lord weapons, Sudarshan Chakra, conch shell, Kaumodaki club, and then Lord's necklace, pearl necklace, and gradually lotus face, and so on. So that's how we should begin darshan, from lotus feet and gradually rise to the upper limb of the transcendental body of the Lord. So today I'll be sharing my understanding of verse 28. Kaumodakim bhagavato daitam smareta digdam arati bhatasonita kardamena mala madhuvrata viruta giropa gushtam chaitasya tatvamamalam manimasya kanthe. The yogi should meditate upon his club, which is named Kaumodaki and is very dear to him. This club smashes the demons who are always inimical soldiers and is smeared with their blood. One should also concentrate on the nice garland on the neck of the Lord, which is always surrounded by bumblebees with their nice buzzing sound. And one should meditate upon the pearl necklace on the Lord's neck, which is considered to represent the pure living entities who are always engaged in his service. So as stated in Bhagavad Gita, that all the different species of living entities are sons of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this verse talks about two kinds of living entities who act in different ways. The Supreme Lord on his neck keeps, like the living entities are represented by the pearl necklace on the Lord's neck. So the Supreme Lord keeps on his neck those living entities that are pure and are always engaged in his service. So just like pearls are very valuable, and we usually keep them close to our heart, and also we protect them. So that's how devotees are very dear to Lord, especially pure devotees of the Lord, because they are rendering selfless service to the Lord out of love, and they are very dear to the Lord. So Lord carefully keeps them near Lord's chest, and he also, we can understand in this way that, why we wear the precious gems and necklaces on neck, because to display, right, that they are so precious, and people also, they appreciate that valuableness, so that's why everyone wears the necklaces. So Lord also likes to show glories of his devotees. That's why Lord put them on his neck, so everyone can see that how glorious Lord's devotees are. That in the war of Kurukshetra, like Arjuna he was hesitant to fight. So Lord said that these soldiers are already dead, but Lord wanted to give glories to Arjuna. He wanted to glorify his devotee. So that's why he told Arjuna, you have to do this. So that's how Lord wants his glories to be seen. He can do everything, but he wants his devotees to show, to show the world that how glorious his devotees are. So whereas the other living entities, they are called Arati. In this verse, it is used that who is Arati, they are not interested in understanding the pastimes of the Lord, because they are demons. Demons in the sense that they consider themselves to be master, and also they give trouble to the devotees. And Lord doesn't like, if anyone hurts his devotee, offends devotee, or give trouble to his devotee. So in this verse, it is said that the Kaumodaki club is very dear to Lord, and yogi meditates on them. Now it is also said that it is smeared with the blood. So why, when they are meditating on the beautiful limbs of the Lord, and it's so nice to meditate on these things, why would they meditate on the club which is smeared with the blood? Why? Because both devotees who are compared, the devotees who are compared to pearls, as well as those who are killed by the Lord with the mace, they represent Lord's merciful and compassionate nature. So that is what the yogi is meditating. So, and we can understand this in the prayers of Nagapatni. When Lord Krishna, after he subdues Kaliya, Lord Nagapatni, they offer prayer to the Lord. Like Lord, they say that, oh dear Lord, you are equal to everyone. For you, there is no distinction between your sons, friends, and enemies. Therefore, the punishment that you have so kindly offered to Kaliya is exactly befitting the world, because you are absolute truth. So because Lord is absolute, there is no difference between the mercy of the Lord and the punishment of the Lord. Therefore, it is, even though we think that it is punishment, it is actually some benediction. So Nagpatni say that we consider your punishment as your greatest mercy upon us. Because when you punish someone, it is understood that the reactions of his sinful activities are eradicated. And it is clearly, it's clear, since Kaliya has got the body of the serpent, he must have done so many kinds of sins to get that body. So the Nagpatni says that your dancing on the hood has reduced all the sinful reactions. And it is very auspicious that you have become angry and have punished in such a way. So that is the mercy of the Lord. So demons, demons are also dear to Lord, but because they offend the devotees, and also they consider themselves to be the master. So to bring them back, first Lord with the mace, he finishes their sinful activities. And the demons are, when they are defeated by the Lord, they give up the bodies of Asura and they attain Brahman liberation. And Srimad Bhagavatam says, whether one loves or hates Lord, but when they concentrate on Lord, they get benefited. So this was very beautifully explained by Satyasara Prabhu in one of the classes, that the not all demons which are killed by the Lord gets liberated, but only those who hate Lord with great concentration, they get liberated. Because when they concentrate on Lord, they are attracted by the astonishing feature of the Lord, and they cannot stop thinking about Krishna because his features are so attractive. And the more they concentrate, the more it purifies them. And that's why when Krishna kills them, they get liberation. Devotees also aspire for liberation, but their intensity of concentration on Lord is different. Thus, the yogis meditate on the mace of the Lord, which removes the sinful reactions by killing even the demons and give chance for them also to liberate. That is the mercy of the Lord. That is the kindness of the Lord. So in Kali Yuga, demons are within us in form of anarthas like Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Mad, Moha, Matsarya. So the pure devotees of the Lord, they come and give their mercy by connecting us to Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So we can purify ourselves, just like we got this chance of, reading Srimad Bhagavatam and reading Bhagavad Gita in association of devotees. So that helps our purification. And so that's how we can go back to Godhead. So also then this verse explains the Lord's beautiful, garland around Lord's neck, because also we know that in the spiritual world, everything remains fresh. Nothing is, even though the flowers are plucked, their freshness doesn't fade. So bees are intoxicated by the delicious fragrance of the flowers in the Lord's neck, and they hum around that, and that sweet sound is enjoyed by the Lord. So thus Lord's beautiful form, yogi and the devotees meditate, and they don't want to see anything else. They desire to see this Lord's beautiful form always. So I'll give to Abhay Prabhu.
Hare Krishna devotees. I'm going to talk about the verse 328-31. Tasyavalokam adhikam krupayati hora tapatrayopasamanaya nisrishtakshno snigdha smitanugunitam vipula prasadam dhyaye chiram vipula bhavanaya duhaya. The yogi should contemplate with full devotion the compassionate glances frequently cast by the Lord's eyes, for they soothe the most fearful threefold agonies of his devotees. His glances, accompanied by loving smiles, are full of abundant grace. So this verse talks about Ati Gora. So Ati Gora means very fearful. Here, Ati Gora refers to the material nature. Material nature looks very beautiful from outside. You know, the fresh rivers, the tall mountains, beautiful landscapes, flowing oceans, beautiful blue sky, etc. But tell me, do we always believe what we see? No, right? We learn from experiences as well as from the teachings that we cannot always go by the looks. The looks may be deceiving. The looks may be illusory. You know, we can compare material nature as a mundane example with Putana. Just like the demon Putana, Putana was a witch who was expert in killing the small children. She entered into the home of Mother Yashoda as beautiful woman. She had attractive looks and smile that captivated everyone. She was able to deceive everyone. Similarly, when the living entity tries to enjoy separately from the Lord, it falls in the lap of the Maya, this material world. It is very important to understand that this material world is not a suitable place to be happy or enjoy. A lot of times we see in the National Geographic or Discovery Channel that a beautiful deer grazing happily is unaware of the lurking cheetah, and within next second, he gets chased and becomes a meal. A fish happily swimming gets swallowed entirely by a bigger fish in a fraction of a second. And we see and hear similar things happening even to the humans. You know, one moment one is alive, enjoying, and very next moment falls victim to a calamity. Srimad Bhagavatam describes this material world as padam padam yat vipadam na tesham, a place where there is danger at every step. This verse also refers to tapatrayo. Tapatrayo means threefold miseries. Suffering in this material world is categorized three different ways. Number one, those miseries which arise from mind and body, adhyatmika. Those miseries inflicted by other living entities, adi bhautika. And those miseries arising from natural catastrophes over which no one has any control, adi devika. Material scientists try very hard to control these threefold miseries, but they cannot stop it. Governments spend billions of dollars on various human relief programs, but cannot do anything other than making false promises to people that they have everything in control. This material world is certified by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita as a dangerous place full of calamities. The big problem is people in this material world are so conditioned that they believe that calamity will never come their way. And even if suffering comes their way, they just think it's a part of the life and move on without giving a single thought that they can actually do something to avoid it. The only way one can understand this is by acquiring knowledge from reading and understanding authorized scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. This purifies the intelligence, and this intelligence helps us come up with a realization. And the realization that our chances of happiness in this material world is same as the chances of this square peg fitting into the round holes. So far we talked about how material nature perplexes the common people. This material energy is so strong that it can also create disturbances and anxiety for the devotees of the Lord also. Devotees of the Lord are the perfect yogis as they are always involved in the loving devotional service of the Lord. They are always 100% dependent on the mercy of the Lord. When calamities come, they take shelter of the Lord, just like Gajendra. When the crocodile got hold of his leg and he knew there was no escape, he only called out to the Supreme Lord Hare and no one else. Yasvatmanidam nijamaya yarpitam kvachit vibhatvam kvachata tiropitam avidadrak sakshubhayam tadikshate Satma Mulo Vatumam Paratpara. Gajendra prayed, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by expanding his own energy, keeps this cosmic manifestation visible and again sometimes renders it invisible. He is both the supreme cause and the supreme result, the observer and the witness in all circumstances. Thus, he is transcendental to everything. May that Supreme Personality of Godhead give me protection. So the Lord descends in this world to out of deep compassion for his devotees. There are other reasons for Lord to descend, like, Vinashaya cha dushkritam, etc. Killing the demons. Killing the demons is a piece of cake for the Lord, and he may not even descend himself for that. He can always order any of his subordinates to do that. But the main reason he descends is for his devotees, as the devotees of the Lord are dear most to him. For his devotee and dear friend Arjuna, Lord even accepted the position of a chariot driver, which is normally considered a lower position. He rejected lavish treatment and opulent feast at Duryodhana's place. Instead, he stayed at his devotee Vidura's place and accepted ordinary banana peels because they were offered with love and devotion. That is why Srila Narottam Das Thakur sings in his bhajan about pure devotees. Narottam Das Thakur says, Tomar radhaye sada Govinda Vishnu Govinda kahena mora Vaishnava para. He says, your heart, O pure devotees, your heart is always the resting place of Lord Govinda. And Lord Govinda says, the Vaishnavas are in my heart. Lord takes so many forms to please his devotees. There are millions of such forms. He is one. But some devotees wants to see him as Radha Krishna. Some wants to see him as Sita Ramachandra. Some wants to see him as 400 Narayan form, and he fulfills everyone's desire. Yoga practice helps mind detach one from sense enjoyment and thus come out of the material existence. So Lord Kapila Dev is instructing about the system of yoga practice where the yogi is concentrating his mind on the Supreme Lord. It is very important to concentrate the mind on the form of Lord Vishnu. It is not recommended to concentrate the mind on a void or something impersonal. A lot of improper practices use meditation on candles, sound, fingers, light, or something imaginary. But such practices are unauthorized because they do not come from any authentic disciplic succession. A true devotee always follows a disciplic succession and the devotees who represent it. This way, he only properly meditates on the authorized form of the Vishnu, which is always cheerful and reassuring. Let us think about this. We always like to see and appreciate the beauty, and however hard we try to fulfill this desire, we are never satisfied because it is all material beauty. For example, some people like to watch and appreciate sunsets and beautiful sea beaches. They feel good for the time being, but after some time they want to go elsewhere and do the same. Why does that happen? They have this hankering to see and appreciate beauty, but their desire is not satisfied because they don't have this knowledge that material beauty cannot satisfy a spiritual being. Living entity's original nature is spiritual, and only Lord's form can give them permanent satisfaction. There is no object that is more attractive than Lord's form. Lord's name Krishna means all attractive. When one's desire to see, hear, touch, etc. are dovetailed into the Supreme Lord, all the desires are satisfied. A devotee always has his mind and activities focused on the Supreme Lord. Lord's facial expressions are so beautiful that they immediately destroy the anxiety of the devotees. His beautiful face, his curly hairs, lotus-like eyes, and dancing eyebrows give satisfaction to the devotees. His curly hairs are compared with hummingbees that are swarmed around a lotus. His two eyes are compared with two fish swimming about. This beauty defies all the natural beauties. And this also proves that Lord's beauty and form is personal, and the point that there is nothing imaginary about it. In Srimad Bhagavatam, even the demigods pray to the Lord to bless them with his merciful glance, as it will bring peace and prosperity and destroy all the calamities. His merciful glance supersedes the beauty of a spotless lotus flower. His glance is purifying and not material. When he mercifully glances, all anxieties are wiped out, and just like the rays of a sun dries out the puddles of water on the ground, a devotee is always aspiring for a merciful glance that Lord frequently casts. With a single glance, Lord is able to agitate the Mahatattva, which is the manifested total material energy, and create this material creation. The whole phenomena is beyond human comprehension. There is no way material scientists can understand or know this, that there is, because they don't have a single tinge of faith, devotion, or surrender to the Lord or his devotees. You know, we are so fortunate to read and talk about this transcendental knowledge by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and the devotees. We are so fortunate that by Vaishnava's mercy, we can hear and discuss about this topmost knowledge just sitting on the cozy seats in our nicely heated homes in this cold weather. We should definitely take advantage of this rare opportunity. Otherwise, as Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 9:11, Avajananti Mam Mudha, fools never understand his supreme transcendental position. And this even includes those so-called scholars who misinterpret what Lord says and try to misguide everyone. So we are indebted to Srila Prabhupada and all the Vaishnavas who are causelessly imparting us mercy and opportunity to understand the absolute truth. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu and Mataji. That was a very beautiful class. Very nicely, both of you all spoke. Just a few points that I captured. Like Mataji was saying from the verse, the necklace of Lord's necklace represents his pure devotees, and Lord wears it close to his heart. And how even demons get liberated, even though they are demons, but they are always thinking, concentrating on the Lord's form. So it is so, even they are getting purified just by thinking in an angry way, but they're still thinking of Lord all the time, right? So very nicely you said that. And in Kali Yuga, the demons are within us. So, and devotees always want to see Lord's form. So very nicely you explained that, Mataji. And Prabhu, you had very nice images in your presentation, and it's so nice that the thing that you explained about material miseries, how much miseries are there. We know that it is so much problem, but we are still here and we think that those miseries will not happen to us. We continue, right? And how the material energy will cause anxiety even to devotees. And then the point you made, Prabhu, was very nice, that so much of material beauty is there, but we are not satisfied with it. We still will get satisfied only when we see Lord. It's Lord's smile that we want. And how acharyas have given us so much scriptures and have told us what we have to do. So we definitely have to take up very seriously, and only then that will make us happy, right? So very nice recitation, Prabhu and Mataji. Thank you very much for giving the class. With that, devotees, thank you all for joining the BhagavatSanga program today. We will meet you all next week. Hare Krishna.